Okay, welcome everyone. This is the meeting of the Cabinet of North East Derbyshire District Council. It's Thursday, the 22nd of December. With me in the chamber is Councillor Jeremy Kenyon and Councillor Aaron. There's just a bit of feedback, Martin. Yeah, brilliant. Can you mute yourself or? Brilliant. Thanks for that. This is the meeting of the North East Derbyshire District Council Cabinet. With me in the chamber is Councillor Jeremy Kenyon and Councillor Caroline Rennick, and then the Managing Director Lee Hickin and the Monitoring Officer Sarah Sternberg. And on the screen, I think we have Lisa Ingram and Martin Derbyshire doing the governance for the meeting. So it's a short agenda, very brief meeting, fortunately. First item is apologies for absence. I think we've received apologies from Councillor Powell, Councillor Cupit and Councillor Foster.
Yeah, I think Councillor Cupit is trying to make the meeting, but she's stuck on the A61 at the moment.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, right, well, there we go then. Any declarations of interest from anyone? No? Minutes of the last meeting, I'll happily move them as a true and accurate record. Seconded by Councillor Rennick. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried. And then the next item then is item 4, which is the North East Derbyshire District Council Climate Change Strategy Refresh. And I'll hand over to Councillor Kenyon for this one.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Sorry to drag everybody in for, I think it's a one item agenda we've got. It might be a second one snuck on there since, but thank you for coming in. The reason wanting to get it done now rather than the next one is that there's an organisation that assesses councils' climate plans, and we want to make sure they've got the new one to work on, not the one from 2019. That said, this strategy is built on the back of the previous one. It was already a good strategy, and it's basically extended it. The main thing is to include more of the Ricknell side of things, even though technically housing is obviously a big thing, so that's embedded in there now. We've also separated out the action list that used to be included in the previous strategy, because honestly, the action list is huge, it's ever evolving, and having it in the strategy just was. We've also taken an approach in the strategy of not just focusing on our own emissions. We look at the bigger picture. We've got a lot of influence in various parts of North East Derbyshire, especially our 7,000 odd households that live in council housing. So, for example, EWI, technically not something that will affect our own measured of emissions, but it will affect thousands of residents. So it's obviously key that that's in there. And the same planning policy is another one of a similar ilk. For our direct emissions, we've been working on everything from vehicle efficiency to leisure centre heating systems. For example, at Eckington Pool, the recent decarbonisation work looks to have reduced, this is early numbers subject to change, but looks to have reduced the gas use by around 70% already. And that's before we've even got the whole system up and running. And the air source heat pumps will be coming in January, I think, or be on in January. One more thing to make you aware of is that our baseline emissions have changed for 2 major reasons. So it makes comparisons with previous years difficult. One was bringing the red bin collection in-house, and that's reflected obviously in a lot more diesel consumption, with a doubling of the vehicle movements basically. And the other was taking on Killamarsh Leisure Centre. Leisure centres are notoriously energy hungry, and adding a 4th one in is it doesn't change the overall picture for North East, but it means our things that under our particular remit show a rise. And of course, COVID's made it really hard to evaluate the last few years. And in fact, one more thing just to note in case we get asked about it, it's also worth noting some councils have quite a low footprint because they've basically outsourced everything. So they've outsourced leisure and bin collections, for example, in some councils, and others don't have any council housing as well. And maintaining 7,000 council houses is itself a huge amount of fleet and infrastructure to do that. So the strategy is it's going to evolve over time. The action list in particular will evolve over time. That's it really. So there's only one recommendation in the report, which is to accept
Kenyon, very happy to second. It's a really good document, really comprehensive and really good that we brought it up to sort of speed in terms of where we are now, given that is it the full 4 years, 3 years since the last one was
3.5.
produced? Yeah, 3.5. So a lot has changed in that time. So it's really good to see it brought up to date and sort of reinvigorating that focus on how we're addressing our impact on climate change. So yeah, thanks very much for this. Over to you, Councillor Rennick.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say huge thanks to Councillor Kenyon and officers from when we first set up the Climate Change Action Group. Because we've done a lot of work. It is I think we all accept polluter pays principle in this council and certainly in this room, and we know there's costs of that, and it's taken a long time to try and work through this list, and we weren't shy of tackling some of the biggest emitters in the first instance. And congratulations to the team. I'm particularly proud of the external wall installation through our housing provider, Ricknold, and some of the work we've done there. Not only is it a great amount of saving of carbon, but residents tell me the £300 plus the saving in their energy bills. And bearing in mind of the energy crisis at the moment, that's been hugely welcome. And I'm really pleased that the government are putting out these grants, the LADS grants and the HUGS grants, that will hopefully also help private individuals. And we just put in a large bid for some more of that funding. Fingers crossed. I think we've delivered really well. Probably one of the biggest external wall installation schemes that's in the country. So we ought to be mightily proud of that. And also in terms of the waste hierarchy, and the Environment Act actually is going to make some differences in the new year. I'm just waiting for more detail on that. And but you have to remember, we are picking up in terms of the hierarchy, in terms of prevent, reuse before you recycle. We only come in really at that sort of second point. So it's really more about now how we can improve the prevention. Prevent the waste in the first place. And we do know that the government's extended producer responsibility will make a big difference in there to help us all make better choices. But on the whole, I'm really pleased to be able to support this and thank you, officers, and for all the work they've done to try and achieve this.
Thanks very much. Yeah, absolutely echo all those sentiments there. If there's no further comments from anyone, we'll move to the vote. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is any urgent items, of which there are none. And then I'll move to exclude the public. So I move that the public be excluded from the meeting during the discussion of the following items of business, to avoid to them the disclosure of exempt information as defined in Part 1, Schedule 12A, the Local Government Act 1972. If we can just turn off the live feed, Martin.